We're going to call this meeting together. We will, of the November 21st, 2021 regular County Commission meeting. I don't believe the pastor is here, Brother Harvey Earls, that was going to do our invocation. So in his place, I have asked Matthew Brown if he would please do our invocation, and Commissioner Ball will lead us in the pledge, followed by the invocation. Thank you for standing.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for just the honor that we have to live in such a beautiful place. And I thank you for our commissioners who have volunteered their time to serve in this capacity. And we thank you for all the citizens of Baldwin County who invest so much in the beautiful place that we call home, Lord. And we know that there are no easy issues that are important issues that we face, and I pray that in our interactions, as you say in Scripture, that we'd be rooted and grounded in your love, and that would just preeminate through all of our discussions and discourse. And we thank you for the example you set through Jesus Christ and his work on the cross, and we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we really get started with everything in the meeting, I just want to remind anybody that wishes to speak at the public hearing portion or in the public comments portion, you will need to fill out a speaker form and turn it in, and just be reminded that you will have 3 minutes to speak if you're speaking on behalf of yourself. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you will have 5 minutes. So when we get to that portion, please have your speaker form turned in. Thank you. Okay, first item is the adoption of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of November the 7th, 2023, regular meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Gruber, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Next, we have our Finance Chair.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to payment of the bills.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner McKenzie to pay our bills, seconded by Commissioner Gruber. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The next item is a notification of interim payments approved by Clerk Treasurer as allowed under Policy 8.1. There's no action required on that. It's just a notification. We now have our consent agenda. We went over that in our work session. Do I hear a motion to approve our consent agenda? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Ball.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Okay. Get to the end of that. All right. No presentations, but we are now at the public hearing. So if you didn't have time to fill out your speaker request, get busy. I'll repeat that because we had a couple people walk in. If there's any individual wishing to speak during the public hearings, which are fixing to start, you must fill out a speaker form. Comments from individuals should be limited to 3 minutes. Groups are asked to select a spokesperson to speak on behalf of the group with comments limited to 5 minutes. That is also for our public comment section towards the end of our meeting. With that being said, Mr. Brown.
All right, thank you, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. This is our first public hearing, which is TA 23-3, which is the amendments to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance to add Planning District 14, the zoning maps, and the local provisions. We've streamlined this presentation because we've heard so many similar ones now, and we'll focus on the areas that are a little bit different. Again, this is an amendment to one of the 6 documents we manage here at Planning and Zoning, specifically the zoning ordinance. This is the outline of what we're going to talk about. We'll go quickly through the process timeline, the common local provisions, the newer modified local provisions and priorities. We'll talk about the map. We'll look at some full ordinance changes, and then we'll have the staff recommendation. As a reminder, maybe the most clumsy part of this is we may have citizen requests. We know that we have at least 4 and 2 that might be a little bit we might need a little bit more time on, and so what we'll do is we'll go through the full presentation. We'll come back again and look at those 4 requests individually. You'll make a vote on each of those 4 that will then get folded into the final vote and motion. So just as a reminder for everybody, this is part of a citizen-driven process to pursue zoning. In this particular case, it's for Planning District 14, which is on the east side of Fish River, south of Silver Hill. And we'll look at the full map here in a second. Here's the timeline starting from when we received notice from citizens to pursue that request, all the way through the vote, and then the appointment of a citizen advisory committee. And those citizens met for 8 different meetings. I think we have 2 of those members here, Ms. Barnes and Mr. Waters. Would you all raise your hands real quick? We appreciate the time they invested on the committee. I didn't see any of the other ones there. And then we also have a number of citizens here who just came to every meeting and participated in the process. And so we appreciate the work that they invested into that. All right, so let's talk about common local provisions. I'm just throwing these up on the screen. These were adopted and are verbatim or nearly verbatim to what has been commonly adopted in other local provisions. And that's some solid waste and trash management requirements specifically focus on RV parks and things like that. Landscape buffers for major projects abutting primary roads, special landscape buffers for certain types of intense projects, wetlands and common areas, stream buffers, special parking requirements, commercial building facade requirements, high-value native tree requirements, traffic study requirements, good neighbor stormwater policies, public safety access requirements for 1- and 2-family residential developments over 30 lots, in compliance with the fire code, and then incentivizing certain planned residential developments. Again, this is verbatim to what has been approved in recent districts. So moving on, I'm going to talk about some of the new or slightly modified local provisions or priorities that came out of this district. So the first one is some slightly enhanced traffic study requirements, and I'm just going to read this provision. It says, when a traffic study is required, in addition to intersections identified by the county engineer's designee, the applicant shall at a minimum study the first intersection of a collector or higher and arterial in each feasible travel direction within 3 miles of a proposed development's access points to the maintained road system. We worked with the highway department on this, and we feel like this is a good kind of trigger point to make sure, you know, sometimes you can have a development where the vehicles will go and they'll tee into a major north-south corridor, and then the next major intersection could be 2 miles away, and it might be easy to forget to look at that intersection because it's so far away. But the reality is there's nowhere else for that traffic to go, so it is going to impact that first major intersection. So really, this is something the citizens asked for, to say, let's make sure we're definitely looking at this minimum intersection distance. This was some local provisions for animal husbandry allowed in residential districts. This is a rural area with a lot of residences, and a lot of those residences have chickens or a couple goats or things like that. So they wanted to make sure that that was preserved and continued to be allowed. And we have had something similar to this in one district recently as well. This is probably the biggest change here, and I think it's a neat change, and it kind of targets the attainable housing issue a little bit. They said, you know, folks, a lot of times they can't afford a standard single-family residence, and so they end up putting a mobile home on there, which is fine. But those, in terms of long-term value, they deteriorate. They're not intended to last as long. And they said, so we want to make it easier for people who might be interested in actually doing a stick-built duplex on the property. So they created this provision. It says, in Planning District 14, on a vacant parcel that is 1 acre or greater in size, and zoned as either base community zoning, RA, rural district, or a residential district under Article 4, 1 duplex is permitted by right with no additional primary or accessory dwelling units. So they're saying, listen, we'd rather see a nicely built duplex on a 1 acre parcel that would allow someone to live in one and rent out the other, or maybe rent out both and provide a few more housing units instead of it just becoming maybe 2 mobile homes on the property. So an interesting take on that. We also had the creation of activity nodes. I'll show you a map of what these are, but as a reminder, it says these locations or nodes represent where the majority of activity is taking place in the district, and therefore the more intense zoning designations are limited to these areas. And so you can see what those are listed here. Here's the map. So RSF3 can only be permitted in this location. This is the intersection of County Road 49 and State Route 104. RSF4 can only be requested in this circle right here. And again, this is at this stamp date and time. Zoning ordinances are designed to change over time, so 3 or 4 or 5 years, it might be appropriate to expand these. B3 can be requested at the locations shown below, and B4 can be requested at this one location shown here. So those are those activity nodes that have been identified. We did have a couple special requests related to existing unique RV parks. There's the RV park that has a toy train down there, and it's almost more like a tourist site. It's hard to describe, and so there's some special language written into your draft resolution to kind of handle that site moving forward, and we worked with that property owner on that. And we also, there was a group that came to the advisory committee that's in the process of building like a missions retreat where missionaries on furlough come and stay, and they've already built several houses on this, so we worked with them to have a solution, a zoning solution for that with limitations that has to be used for not-for-profit. And so those are what you see on the screen there. Okay, here's the map. It's one of our larger districts lengthwise, so we had to split it into 2 different districts. But you see that really the more intense zoning centered around Silver Hill. We worked with the mayor of Silver Hill and folks in that area, made sure they were aware of it and got any feedback that they had as well. And you can see how the lower intensity zonings tend to move out from that point. Okay, here are the special requests, and someone, Ms. Marla actually pointed out I have the pin wrong on this, and I failed to change it ahead of the meeting. But these are the 4 special requests we have. The first one is someone who would like to go from RSF2 to RSFE on this particular property. We don't see any issues with this, and so staff would recommend that one move forward. This next one is a request that came in. The individual just requested residential zoning to the advisory committee. So the advisory committee looked at it and they said, well, let's go ahead and give them RSFE. That's the first residential zoning. Well, then when they got the map and in this interim period, they reached out to us and said, well, actually, we want RSF1. I feel pretty comfortable that the advisory committee would have given them RSF1. That's a 30,000 square foot lot had they requested. And in fact, a little bit to the east, the advisory committee agreed to zone a pretty substantial area as RSF1 as well. And if you recall, it wasn't that long ago where we had an automatic rezoning allowance to RSF1. This is kind of the messiness of this process, but just wanted to kind of give you the full context of that request as you consider it today. This is the third request, request number 3. This is a request for RV1 at the lot that you see here. I believe this citizen is here, and she'll be prepared to speak to you all on this. I will just tell you right now that there was initially another request for RV at this corner, and the advisory committee kind of had a split vote, but said, okay, fine, we'll let you do RV, not for this property, but 1-2 down. Well, that request has since been revoked or pulled. That citizen said, never mind, we don't want RV. And so now there's no longer any RV zoning at this intersection. And so the question is, will it be appropriate for this individual to request it here? This is at the intersection of 32 and County Road 9. And again, she is here. She'll be able to address you a little bit on that. This 4th request is a request that came in yesterday afternoon, right at the end of business hours. And it's a request, I'm not sure what the total acreage here, but it's a substantial amount of acres to request. It's currently shown as RA, and they would like to request RSF4, which is a pretty small lot size, around 7,500 square feet. We're not saying that residential wouldn't be appropriate there or some level of residential, but I can tell you that staff's position on such a late request like this is that they should go through the rezoning process now. You can see there's residential property to the west. I haven't even gotten time to see what those lot sizes are, and so I'm guessing they're more like RSF2, maybe RSF3. And so that citizen, our recommendation will be that they go through the normal process, look at the surrounding area, and make a case based on that instead of this last minute request that we received in this case. All right, so I think just one full ordinance change here. This is really something to give people more options. In base community zoning, which is that newer zoning district, to do a subdivision other than an exempt subdivision, you had to get it rezoned first. We're saying, hey, listen, if you're going to do lots larger than 80,000 square feet, 2 acres, you don't need to get it rezoned. We don't want to make it harder for people to make large acre lots if they already have base community zoning in place. So we're making it clear that they can do a subdivision in base community zoning with those larger lots. Two other just more administrative changes. We updated our table of permitted uses. It didn't have base community zoning in there, so we updated it to add that. And then we also added some just clarifying language regarding site plan approvals for the Ps and Cs that you see on the table. No substantive change, but we kept getting questions on how that worked, and so we just added those clarifying notes. All right, so our staff recommendation you see on the screen here, which is also in your agenda, which is to adopt Resolution 2024-17. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You see the 4 citizen requests on here. We'll go back to those when the public hearing is open, and then as those are voted on by y'all, Buford will actually be updating it on the slide for us here. And that's all I have, Madam Chairwoman.
I've got a question, Matthew. Go back on number 2, request number 2. Just go back to that map. What are the lot sizes in the subdivision next to that?
So those are very small lot sizes. Those are going to be like RSF3 type lot sizes.
So this request is for RSF1.
That's right. So these would be much larger lots than what you're seeing to the west.
That's all I wanted to know.
Okay, is there any other questions for Matthew before we open the public hearing on this item?
We're going to do each request individually, correct? Okay.
That's correct.
I just want to make sure I do that. Thank you.
I do have a question. Is there someone like from your staff here that could, I'm trying to find it on my map, just to get me an idea of what the lot sizes are in that one that came in yesterday, just while we're conducting the public hearing, and when we close the public hearing, I can get that information from your staff.
We'll pull that up. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. None other from the commissioners with Matthew before we open the public hearing? Hearing none. Public hearing is open for case number TA 23-3. Who do we have signed up to speak? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. First, I have Bruce Bankston.
Okay. You will have 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Or unless you're
Thank
speaking,
you.
are you speaking on behalf of a group or yourself?
On behalf of the group.
Okay, you have 5.
All right. So thank you for allowing me to speak. Matthew, thank you for helping me out here. So the gentleman who owned the property here, this is the one that came in late yesterday afternoon. It's 2 parcels that make up about 140 acres. And it is in between Manic Lane, Fish River Road, and County Road 9. Okay, and so you have Dogwood Dells to the left, you have Osprey Landing to the right. And so we came into this late. I mean, I am the executor of the estate and of the trust, and I have to apologize. Again, this all came in late, so we're scrambling. But we looked at the proposed zoning, and it doesn't leave room for much, whenever much can be done. And we thought this was an appropriate time now, since it's being rezoned, to fit in what's already around there. There is farmland to the east, there is some farmland to the south, but there is subdivisions to the north and to the west. And so we were just looking for conformity, something that's already there, nothing out of the ordinary, but you're taking away the value of the property, by leaving it unzoned. And this is in our opinion, the time to make the change now while it's being considered. So
Well, it won't be left unzoned, but it would be zoned rural agriculture if it's left the way they proposed
Yeah.
it. So is RSF4, I mean, that's really dense. That's why we're trying to look up and see what it is around that. Okay.
even if it was compatible with Dogwood Dells to the west or Osprey Landing to the north, Matthew, well, that's fine, but not.
What's the owner of the property's name?
It's in the H.B. Cleveland Trust. And I have the property PIN numbers.
Do.
How long has it been in the trust?
What's the PIN number, please?
Probably around 4 years, 5 years maybe.
The reason why I asked that is why is it coming late? I mean, why is this coming late to the planning and
Well,
zoning?
he did pass away in February, so we're going through the probate process. I'm the executor,
Sure.
and we just wasn't aware of the process, what was happening here.
Do you live here?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have that PIN? Excuse me.
I actually just placed them up on the screen at 7686 and 63260.
What now?
They're on your screen.
Oh, it's on my screen? 7686, okay. I just heard that long number. I was like, well, where'd you get a PIN number that long?
This came in so late, it's not even in our packet, right?
No.
That's correct.
Okay.
I got wind of it yesterday, like, oh no.
You know, just looking right behind that, the lots that are platted behind that, the first one I pulled up is 290 by 160, which is roughly 2 acres, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a
Which one is that?
that's a big lot compared to 7,500 square feet, which
Well,
is,
there's probably, I don't know, 4 or 6 lots to the south of this parcel right on Manic Lane. And that's small lots there.
on Manic Lane.
If you look at County Road 9 and Manic Lane on the south side, I guess,
Manic Lane doesn't have any small lots on it, except for way over here that were, it's just a little old bitty,
yeah, there's like 4 or 6 lots, and they're building nice homes there. And then whenever you look at,
well, that's 100 feet by 141 feet, which is, my math says that's about 14,000 square feet.
right,
That's about double what you're asking.
What's your plan?
RSF 4 is 7,500 minimum.
I wanted to know what his plan was. What's the plan?
well, the plan was to be able to do something with it, and then knowing what we can do with it. We're not going to farm it.
What's the total acreage of all that?
About 140
And
acres.
when you think about doing 140 acres worth of subdivision?
Okay, my question is,
We
why
want to do
RSF
something
4? Would you, I mean, just a lot...
Why not RSF?
RSF 1 or 2? I mean, because the lot you just referenced is around an RSF 2.
So, County Road 9 and Manic Lane,
Yeah,
and there are
Yeah.
these 4
They're not those large.
Is that what you're saying?
They're large
100 by
lot size.
141.
Okay, well, that's fine.
RSF 2?
Yes.
That's
that
a
would be fine.
whole lot different
Big
than
difference.
RSF 4. I mean, in a rural
You're
area.
going to develop something like this right here. It's expensive, and we know that. So you have to make it worthwhile for a developer to do something with it. Not that
I get that. My question is, RSF 4 is very dense for rural, unincorporated area of the county. Yeah.
If the commission would rather say 2, we would, that's fine, but not anything.
Matthew, how many houses fit on an acre in RSF 4? 2.5, 3? Is that what it usually is? 5 on RSF 4?
The density comes out like 5, practically with
Yeah.
a good road.
Yes, yeah.
4.
That's what I'm thinking. I call it 4.
It's
What
4.
about RSF 3? What has it got?
RSF 3 is a minimum of 10,000 square feet. If
So-
I'm not mistaken, RSF 2 is 15,000, RSF 1 is
I
30,000.
think what we're trying to avoid here is 400 or 500 houses in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not going to be feasible for what these guys are trying to achieve.
Not for County Road 9 and all that area. Excuse me, Fish River Road and all that.
Literally, I think RSF 2 would be the most, but I think RSF 1 would be more desirable. The thing about it is you can develop a better, then there's other things that you can come back and do which this is really not the time for this discussion. That's why the planning department was recommending, because you can gain some density if you do like a planned unit development where you offer amenities and, maybe walking trails, or if the property is low and you need some lakes or something in there, that would offset the lot sizes and things like that. But if you're just pulling a lot size or a residential number out of the air, then this needs to be thought about. This has been going on for months. These people have been diligently meeting, and it's a citizen-driven process. I just feel like RSF4 is definitely not something that I would want to consider for this area from what I believe these people have been working towards.
Yeah, and I do apologize for being into this late. It wasn't intentional. And
I think an RSF1 would be reasonable for here. And then if because you don't really have any particular plans or anything at this point in time, you just don't want it to be rural agriculture.
Correct. Yeah, and I would really petition the commission to allow for zoning of RF2 then.
I'm shocked that you don't want rural agriculture, to be honest.
You're shocked at what?
I'm just shocked that you don't want it to be RA. I mean, and when you decide what you want to do later, you can, go to the rezoning to get it, approved. I don't know. I'm just curious. I mean, just shocked about that, why you don't want to leave it rural agriculture. Because that's what a lot of people want to keep it.
Yeah, I would probably say that the beneficiaries of the trust were going to want to sell it.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Then RSF1 is not something you would want, because that would be, I
think we need to decide on that after we close the public hearing.
I'm just asking the applicant, if this is, we're way past the time because I've given you more time. I don't want to consider anything other than what the people have given us.
Yeah, and I do apologize for everyone for coming in the meeting so late. It wasn't intentional. But anyway, that's our petition, is to...
Okay, well...
I would like to hear from a spokesman from the people's side, too.
Yeah, on this particular issue. All right, well, we've given you a lot of time, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next. I will give if there's anybody that's from the advisory group, I'll give you the same amount of time. Maybe you won't need it, but you're welcome to have it. Marla.
Hi, I'm Marla Barnes. I was the chairman of the advisory committee. I'm also one of the organizers of this for District 14. And I agree that, yes, we do need to have citizens be aware of this request of RSF4. You will note that there are no RSF3 or RSF4 within District 14, and that includes the surrounding area of Silver Hill.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What would the advisory committee be happy with if we settled on something for the gentleman today that just spoke?
Probably RSFE or 1.
Okay. That was my kind of thought process there. Okay. All right. Anyone else signed up?
I have a Rhonda Lorish signed up.
Okay. Are you speaking on your behalf or for a group?
On mine.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Except for I didn't even look at the time while ago because we were asking questions because that was anyways, go ahead.
That's okay. My name is Rhonda Lorish. I live at 13525 County Road 32. I am actually not at the intersection. I am actually across from the Dollar General. I'm here late because I was not aware of the zoning. I bought late. I was not aware of the zoning. As soon as I heard about the zoning, I came in as soon as possible, or I'd have been here the entire time. I am asking to have my property zoned as an RV1, which I've already invested $160,000 into the property. You couldn't even see the property when I first got it. I've improved that area 500%. It's cleaner than the Dollar General across the street that everybody shops at. I have cleaned the ditches that the county is responsible for mowing. We have cleaned all that out. I have made complete improvement to this property. And I've traveled for 19 years on the pipeline with 2 small children as a single mother and not had a home. This is my home. I have a dream for this home. I'm a very clean person, and I've done nothing but improve this property. And I feel like I have the right to show this community what I can possess at that property. And that's how I feel that I should have that chance to do so and not be with the people down the street that I was told by Mr. Brown that through a phone conversation that the people down the street were asking for it as well, 2 doors down. And they had a 3-1 or 3-2 or whatever, but they were going to go through with it. They withdrew. He informed me last week that I'm not going to have a very good chance because they withdrew. What fairness does that for me? Because the other people withdrew. That's not fair to me. Because I know what I'm planning to do with the property. If anyone here was to drive by the property before I bought it and drive by it now, they would see it. I've had multiple people pull in and appreciate the cleanliness and all the improving that we have been doing. I am also surrounded by a Dollar General across the street, an abandoned home next to me that we've also cleaned up, a utility building that was my property that they sold off to, I believe, telecommunications or something, a garage with 10 dirty campers behind it that I butt up to, a disgusting trailer park behind me that I butt up to. That's my area. My property is the cleanest one and the most improved in that entire area, even over the Dollar General. So I feel like I have the right to show this community what I can do.
Thank you.
So, and I have pictures of before and after if anybody would like to see them.
I'm very familiar with the area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's signed up next?
Marla Barnes.
Ms. Barnes, did you want to speak on the other? I know you did a comment on the one request, but did you have any comments on the others?
This isn't to address anything further specific, but I did want to take the opportunity to thank the commission for hearing our request to come under zoning for the county and giving us a voice. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the department, Planning and Zoning Department, and the employees for being so helpful, informative, and patient as our community sought to understand the process. They're to be commended. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it? Okay, we'll close the public hearing is closed on this matter. Mr. Brown, I do have a question about the request about the RV park.
Yeah.
What happens if it were to be zoned as an RV park? Don't they still have to come in for all the specifics and everything?
That's correct. So if it was zoned for RV use as a recreational park, they would still have to go through the subdivision process for an RV park, where they would have to make sure there's proper sewer and infrastructure and stormwater and things of that nature in place for the site.
Okay.
And just to highlight for the commission here, we first heard from this citizen at the Planning Commission meeting. She actually stood up and spoke, and that was the first we learned about this property. At the time, there was another citizen also requesting RV1, and there had been mixed feelings on that, but it had ultimately made it on the map, and then they withdrew it. And what we relayed to her early on, we said, well, there's already someone else requesting one there. That may help your request, but at this point, you're going to have to continue it forward. And then when that one withdrew, and suddenly you don't have any RV zoning at that corner, we said, well, we just want you to know that you need to be at this meeting to make your case, because there's no longer any RV at that corner. She's certainly made a case, considering the other surrounding uses, that maybe that's not a problem,
So, since there are the traffic study requirements and things in place, is that only if it's more than so many units in an RV? Because that's really close to a very busy intersection mode.
So would
there be any further highway concerns? I know that we're working on an access management plan for our county roads, but I know that area right there is due, a traffic signal is being studied right now for County Road 9 and 32. That's not far away from that at all. And I know in the peak times, traffic is lined up, and not all day long, but in the peak times, there's quite a bit of traffic there. So I'm just curious as to what would be, did you say the recommendation? You really don't have a recommendation?
That's right. We don't necessarily I would say that if they were coming in for a straight rezoning and there's no RV parks around it, we see so many RV parks being developed in the county that we're very cautious about them. This owner says they're going to occupy the site, so it's maybe a little different than what we would normally see. Regarding traffic studies, when they submit their subdivision application for an RV park, even if it doesn't meet the unit threshold, the county engineer will still have the option to require a traffic study if they're aware of some other circumstances that would warrant it being looked at as well. So there's still that
I think that I'm just a little cautious about just blindly kind of doing this without a lot of studies going in that, because since it's at this point in the process. But is there any other thoughts from the commissioners while Matthew's here? Questions before we vote on? We're going to vote on.
Okay, this isn't even that. This request number 1 has got to be done first.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just, okay. All right, so let's just go ahead and start with request number 1.
Okay, so request number 1 is the request to go from RSF2 to RSFE. I'll just note for the record that I'm going to be revising the pin that's shown on the slide to correctly reflect the parcel shown on the map here.
Okay. That's a down zoning, so anybody have a motion for that?
Got a motion for request number 1
All right.
to be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries on that one.
All right, request number 2 is this request to go from RSFE to RSF1. That's 80,000 square foot lots to 30,000 square foot lots. And as Commissioner Ball pointed out, there is a pretty large park right next door with homes and mobile homes in it already.
Okay. Do we have
Madam
any?
Chairman, I make a motion that it goes from RSFE to RSF1.
Okay, have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Gruber. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That motion carries. Next.
All right, next is request number 3. This is the request to go from base community zoning to RV1.
I want to ask you one more question about this one then. Base community zoning, is that not supposed to be the new zoning designation that makes it so much easier to figure what really needs to go there?
That's right. It allows people to continue what they were doing before. What's interesting about this case is it was purchased after the zoning came into place, so it wasn't being used as an RV park prior to this. So the base community zoning is not going to help them out as much in this situation.
Okay. Any more questions for Matthew on this request? Do I hear a motion to approve this?
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gruber and a second by Commissioner Ball to approve this request to be brought in as an RV park. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Motion fails 2-2. I believe Gruber and Ball voted yes, and McKenzie and Underwood voted no.
All right, next is request number 4, and this is for those 2 larger parcels. The initial request was RSF4, and if you make a motion for a different thing, maybe just note that in your motion.
Okay. As Matthew just said, the request was for RSF4. If we want to make a different
Yes, I'll make a motion to go from RA to RSF1.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to change this on the map to RSF1. Any other comments or discussion from the commissioners? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, motion passes. Okay.
All right, and this brings us to our final staff recommendations, showing your votes on those specific requests.
Okay. I believe that's the way it went down.
So we'll just need a final motion
To approve
to
these.
adopt the resolution.
Okay, then I need a
Madam
motion to
Chairman, I'll
adopt
make a
that.
motion we adopt resolution number 2024-017, which approves the amendments to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance, adding planning district 14 and miscellaneous changes to the full zoning ordinance.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Gruber. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Matthew. Next item is case number PRD 23-8.
Morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Madam Chairman, give me just a second so this dongle can connect here. So I should have had this. All right, sorry about that. In my staff report, I have combined the rezoning request and the PRD request.
Close your web browser.
This will be the request for the rezoning Z2336 and the PRD, the planned residential development for PRD 23-8 for Woodpecker Landing. All right, here, this is a request for a 15-unit PRD site plan. This property located in Planning District 12 and is currently zoned RA for rural agricultural. The property owner is Mr. O'Hayan, and the property is located on the south side of County Road 54 and west of Hill Road and County Road 55. The property consists of approximately 11.6 acres. Here is your locator map and your site map. Property images of the surrounding areas. Current zoning requirements for RSF1 and the zoning requirements for a PRD. Here's your proposed revised site plan and the open space requirements. During our Planning Commission meeting, we required that the applicant showed a buffer, a 25-foot buffer around the perimeter of the parcel as an existing landscaping buffer to remain, and a 15-foot buffer along the entrance. And the applicant has revised the site plan with that. They are proposing a walking trail and lots of open space. Here is the floor plans and elevations of the proposed single-family dwellings that the developer wants to build. I believe there are approximately 652 square feet. Here's your zoning map. Staff feels that the requested change is compatible with the existing uses of agricultural and residentials surrounding the areas. This request thus conforms with our FLUME, our future land use map. A traffic study at this moment is not required due to the lot sizes and lot count. The existing land use is agricultural and residential. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve the zoning request and the PRD request. I just left the recommendations that were made here and shown that the applicant has revised the site plan to meet those requirements, and staff is recommending approval of the zoning change, so case Z2336, and the PRD approval for PRD 23-8. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
The only thing I want to make sure of is that these are two separate items on here.
Yes, ma'am.
One is for the PRD and one is for the rezoning.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they need to be voted on in that order?
Separately, the PRD first, then the rezoning after.
Okay, all right, that was the only question. So if there's any more questions for Bobby? None? Okay. We'll open the public hearing up for these items. This public hearing can be for both, or does it have to be separate? It can be for both. So this is for item ES2 and for item ES3, which is the PRD and the rezoning for Woodpecker Landing property. Is there anyone signed up to speak on this behalf?
I have Sharon Higginbotham.
I'm only here to answer any questions. I don't have any comments.
Okay. Anyone else?
The only other person is the project engineer, if you want to hear from him, but no.
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 I had to pick on him. I haven't seen him in a while. Anyways.
But
Then we'll
it's all I
close the
have.
public hearing. All right. All that being said, is there any questions for Fabi about this before we take a motion? All right. Well, then, do I have a motion for case number PRD 23-8?
I make that motion that we approve case number PRD 23-8.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next, we have case number Z23-36, which is the rezoning of Woodpecker Landing property. Do we hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, Commissioner Gruber, to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McKenzie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Unanimous. Motion carries. Next item.
You want to leave mine or you want to take it?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ms. Boykin couldn't be with us here today, so you get to listen to me for hopefully just a couple moments. If y'all will indulge me while I get connected here.
Does that mean you were going to be brief? I'm just kidding.
Madam Chairwoman, I'm going to do my best to be brief.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to blaze new trails today with Beaver King.
Woo. You got to have fun.
That's right. Life's too short.
Okay, Commissioners, almost ready. Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Ready for you today, Z23-28. And this is a straight rezoning. As we said, Ms. Boykin couldn't be with us here today, so I'll present for her. And this is, you see on screen here, this is a straight rezoning, but we will give you very briefly some background information on the source of the rezoning request. Some of the parcels here, there's 4 parcels you'll see. You have a couple that are RSFE and RA. The request is to go to B3, as you see there on screen. This is your background information that was in your packet. What we're told by the applicant is that they need to rezone to B3 because the applicant is a developer who is relocating a business from inside the city of Loxley to this area, and some of the items they wish to sell and rent are, one example is what you see here on screen, and so they rent and sell golf carts and other smaller pieces of equipment. That takes B3 zoning. A similar example in terms like outdoor power equipment would be, or power sports items would be like motorcycle sales, again triggering and needing B3. And here's a larger map. This is bigger than what's in your application. This is the combination of the subject properties, and you see where it's located fronting there on State Highway 59 just south of Divine Road. And calling out there, because we know that may be a question, there is a mobile home sales business that you see called out there. That predates zoning in Planning District 12. So there was the pre-established commercial on this area before zoning was adopted. Here's your zoning map, and what we're basically relying on here, as you can tell, there have been a number of rezonings along State Route 59 over the last several years, creating a commercial corridor in that area, especially that intersection. This one complied with all but one of the criteria that we evaluate when we evaluate zoning changes. The future land use map is still very brand new. It's still quite new. And I think the algorithm in the future land use map picked up on maybe the vegetation on the site, and that's why it spit out a recommendation for a preservation type of development. But that's why there's 11 criteria, and that's why we rely on staff to look at these locations, look at the development patterns in the area. And so that's why we think the recommendation for B3 zoning is in line. Here's just your aerial map and your zoning map back to back, and our approval recommendation, and I'm happy to answer questions from staff.
Any questions for Mr. King? All right, hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. Have anybody signed up to speak on this case? Anybody wish to speak on this case that didn't sign up? All right, public hearing's closed on this. Do I have a motion on this?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Motion.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Gruber to approve this rezoning of case Z23-28. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is case Z2334, the Strasburg property. The request is to rezone from M1 to RA, approximately 194 acres. The subject properties are located in Planning District 4 and zoned M1. They're located east of State Highway 225 in the Bay Minette area. The current uses of the properties is vacant. The applicant and owner is Mr. David Strasburg. The proposed zoning is RA, Rural Agricultural District, and the applicant would like to rezone for agricultural use of the property. Staff believes all the factors for the rezone request have been met. Here's the locator map and the site map showing adjacent zoning of M1, RA, and RR to the northeast, south, and west. And then the adjacent land uses are industrial, residential, and agricultural. Here's a closer up view of the properties that would like to be rezoned to RA. Staff's recommendation is approval, and the Planning Commission recommendation is also approval.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Corey?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, we'll open the public hearing on case number Z23-34, the Strasburg property rezoning. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this case? No one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the audience who forgot to sign up to speak, but you want to sign up, you want to speak on this behalf? Nope. Public hearing's closed.
Motion to approve the request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this request. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Motion carries. Next. By the way, that one made total sense. Huge downzoning.
All right, this presentation was prepared by Selena Boykin, and I will present it. This is the Brown property, case number Z2335. The request is to rezone 1.98 acres from RSFE to B1. The subject property is located in Planning District 15 and on the south side of Milton Jones Road, which is west of Highway 181. The current use is vacant. The applicant is Cale Myrick, and the owner is Stacy Brown. The proposed zoning is B1, Professional Business District, and the applicant would like to put an office on the property. Staff believes that all the factors have been met other than conforming to the master plan. Here's a locator map and the site map showing the subject property surrounded by RSFE zoning to the east, west, and south, and commercial zoning to the north. And staff's recommendation was approval, and the Planning Commission recommendation was also approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does the commissioners have any questions for Corey?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none. We will open the public hearing on case number Z23-35, the Brown property rezoning. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? None. Okay. Then, is there anyone out here that wants to speak on this case and you forgot to sign up? All right. Public hearing is closed. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion that we approve case number Z23-35, the Brown property, for the rezoning.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner McKenzie. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
And a second by Commissioner Gruber. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Unanimous. Motion carries. That's it on the public hearings? Okay. Then we're down to item F, which is other staff recommendations. I don't see any. We have no addenda. We're here at item number H, public comments. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, ma'am. I have I have Nancy Johnson. She's here on behalf of a group to thank the commission for a project. But I asked Frank Lundy first to provide you a brief overview of exactly what the project is that they're here to thank you about.
Okay, Frank.
Good morning, Commission. Ms. Nancy Johnson's here with the Baldwin County Trailblazers Group. The Commission recently funded a rehabilitation project, a portion of the Gill Hall Trail between Battles Road and Nelson Lane, just south of Fairhope. That project consisted of removing the damaged areas, repaving that stretch of multi-use trail. Contractor did a very good job, and the residents here want to speak to the Commission about it.
Okay.
Good morning.
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 So nice to see you. Thank you for the time. On behalf of the Trailblazers, you see them spread out there in that corner, and untold numbers of outdoor enthusiasts, we want to say how grateful we are for the work you've done on the part of the Eastern Shore Trail from approximately the American Legion to almost to the hotel. And this is an essential part of the trail. The roadway there has absolutely no shoulder, and it is a very scary place to be. And we take refuge on this trail, and it is just smooth as ice now, and all of us are using this. And these include pedestrians with strollers where we need a smooth surface, disabled people, and bikers as well. So with the repaving project, we are back on the off-road trail, and it's a beautiful, safe corridor for us to enjoy our beautiful Eastern Shore. So we are so grateful, and we thank you again for putting your money there and the work of the county and your public works people. I would like to call two special guests up here, and these are the members of the family of the Gill Hall family. Please come forward. They have just a couple things to say.
Thank you. I am Toodles Dorgan, and this is my sister Frida Rambo, and we're the daughters of Gill Hall.
Nice to meet you.
And I just want to thank you for what you have done to continue with our trail, our Gill Hall Trail, to make it a very pleasant place, a very wonderful place for family and friends to do their aerobic training, walking, just being together, and it's just meant a lot to us to see this. I remember in November of '91 when I received a call from Kay Ivey, and she called to tell me that the path that our mother had trained on for years was going to be named the Jill Hall Trail, that Governor Guy Hunt had just signed the resolution. And so it just makes my heart so warm. I live on Nelson Road, actually, and it makes my heart so warm to see people every day enjoying their life in a healthy way of doing some type of activity on the Jill Hall Trail, and safely too. And thank you to the Trailblazers and to the County Commission for always keeping it up and making it that place for our people in Baldwin County to be able to enjoy.
Thank you so much. And just one other person wanted to say something.
I want to add something too. I'm a member of the Bay Area Runners as well, and we are so thankful and can't thank you enough for repaving it for us, because I'm a runner and I have fell on that trail and hurt myself several times in the years past. So it has made it so much nicer for all of our runners, and the Bay Area Runners really appreciate it as well.
Thank you.
Tell them, what you're holding.
Oh, this is what we were given in 91.
From the governor?
From the governor.
Very nice.
I took it off the wall to bring it.
Thank you so much. Yes.
We appreciate it very much.
Yes.
I'm Elliot Lauderdale, and I'm sorry, I'm a member of the Trailblazers Board, and my job is the chair of the Trail Maintenance and Development Committee, and I came back from visiting my wife's family overseas to find this, actually not find, but feel this absolutely smooth trail, what used to be downright dangerous, and for years now, all I have to do is send a message to Missy, and Mr. Peterson, Mr. Eichner, somebody is going to reply, and the trail is going to get fixed in a relatively fast time. So it's been a joy to work with the highway department and the maintenance people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item, I just want something for the record. This is from the Trailblazers. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
And y'all, can we get the people that are with us to stand up? All the people that are representing this. We've got everything from small children to all the way up to age 10, because I think our county values physical activity and health and quality of life, and we are just so appreciative that the county commission works closely with the Trailblazers that have had that mission for many, many years now. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We appreciate you appreciating it. Not always do people appreciate things we do.
Madam Chair, you mind if I say something?
Sure.
While the Trailblazers are here, and Ms. Charlene, myself and Frank Lundy went to speak with the Alabama Trust Fund, the Weeks Bay Reserve people, several months back, and eventually they're going to be opening up their property to make trails, and I'm hoping that will happen within the next couple of years. I don't know when it's going to. So that's down County Road 27, County Road 1, and the county owns some property down there too, and I haven't spoke to this yet, but I'm hoping that maybe in the future, we can do something. So I just want to let you be aware of that. That'll be a good place for people to walk and to ride their bicycles. So.
That is wonderful. And I just want to make a citizen comment, because I don't normally come to county commission meetings.
You're going to have to come up to the microphone.
I usually got such a loud voice and doesn't matter. But sitting today and watching the care that is being taken with all these rezoning requests, because I know there are a number of people in the county, if we've lived here a while, it is a little bit difficult to watch the rural nature being transformed by the number of people that also want to join us here in the county. And so watching the care and diligent process that this county commission is taking with every one of these rezoning requests it just gives me comfort to know that they are being made very carefully and that there are master plans being established to try to look at how do we absorb the population growth coming in a way that we don't lose the quality of life, which has been so valuable to Baldwin County citizens. So I was really glad we came here to thank y'all today, so I got to see the whole thing about how all these rezoning requests are handled. So
most of the rezoning, most of the Planning Commission requests are held on the second meeting of the month, which is the third Tuesday, which is in Fairhope, so you are welcome to come anytime.
I'll be here everyone now. Anyway, thank y'all.
Thank you. I wanted to say something about Jill Hall's daughters. I'm from Summerdale, and I remember that tragic morning. And for years, my family has businesses in Summerdale, and we have always sponsored the Jill Hall Run that has held in Summerdale in her honor. And most of my nieces and nephews were students underneath her when she was there, and her memory will live on for a long time in both sides of the county. So a shout out for the other side, okay? All right, thank you. Yes, sir?
And Elliot Lauderdale again. We're very happy to thank you and the Highway Department and all the help we've gotten, but I'd also like to speak toward the future. And in the future, we already have approval, a TAP grant to do the bridge over the Grand Hotel, little risk where you have to go over the bridge and hope that you're not going to get hit by traffic, and an extension into Magnolia Springs of the Eastern Shore Trail. So those are such excellent projects for the future toward our sort of dream of a rail-to-trail system that might actually use the former railroad right-of-way and connect the northern part of the county all
We're all on it. We are on it. We are all on it. We're all on it. Remember, not all of us are from the Eastern Shore. I walked up and down that L&N railroad track many times. Okay, anybody else signed up to speak? All right, then that's the end of the public hearing. So unless there's somebody that forgot to sign up and you do wish to speak to us, and if not, then we are moving on. Okay. Anyone from the press here would like to ask any questions? I don't see any press. Commissioner comments. Who wants to start? Which end?
I'll go first. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Matt.
I'd just like to say, tell everybody, to be safe during these holiday times. Thanksgiving's coming up, and just want everybody to be safe and remember, it's a holiday, and wanted to thank all our employees. Be safe, and to our and our citizens. Thank you. Thanks to the staff for putting all this together. It wasn't a bad agenda today, so thank God. The commission, some of the commissioners are going next week to Auburn. I'm part of the legislative committee, and what we're doing as a ACC as a whole, as a statewide, all the counties are coming together to create or to look what our priorities are for counties wide, and it's a lot going on. This is my first time being a part of it, and it's a lot that I'm learning. And it's very interesting to see how the state and ACCA all works together with the county commissioners. And so I'm really proud to be part of it this year. And so we got some priorities that we want to, across the state, what we want to do as a county as a whole. So, but anyway, I just want to let y'all know that we are, involved with other agencies, or other counties too. So I just want to let the citizens know that. So thank you.
I just want to thank the staff again for all they do to help us with getting this agenda published and getting it to us to review. And other than that, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And y'all if you're traveling, please be careful, because the roads will be crowded from what all the indications are. So y'all please be careful. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Ball?
I just got a couple things. One is to keep our circuit court judge Taylor and our prayers throughout this holiday season due to the passing of his mother recently. So Judge Taylor, if you're listening, the commission is praying for you and your family as you go through this difficult time, especially right here before Thanksgiving and Christmas. I know it's tough, and we're behind you and praying for you. If you need anything, reach out to us. One thing I wanted to notice, because we will not be in a meeting again until next time before this starts happening, because on November 27th, our drive-through light display starts at Bicentennial Park. I would encourage people that even if you don't live in North Baldwin County to go experience pretty good thing at our Bicentennial Park starting November 27th at 5 p.m. It's a drive-through light display, just like something comparable to the old Hank Aaron Stadium thing. Not as huge, but it's beautiful. And it's we got a lot of visitors that came to that last year, and so it's been made bigger and better this year. I've seen some sneak previews, some pictures, because that's in my neck of the woods, and I would just encourage people from the Eastern Shore, all y'all like walking and doing all that kind of stuff, come on down to Bicentennial Park and look at a fantastic display of lights. We'll have some more information coming at our next meeting on some other things that'll be happening around the Christmas time at Bicentennial Park. But November 27th, it starts 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and it's one of those things that syncs to the radio in your car. So whatever Christmas music is playing in your car, the lights will be reacting to that as well. So it's pretty cool. And just happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's thank God the weather's getting out of here today, and maybe we get a little chilly and bring the atmosphere in with Thanksgiving. And thank y'all to all the staff for what you do, and wishing you a happy holiday season and enjoy a couple of days off.
I'm going to go ahead and give my comments, but then I've been notified that we have a very pressing matter that came through probably during the public comment period that we do need to vote on, and I'll go ahead and give my comments, and I'm going to turn it over to our administrator to present what that is, and then we will we'll talk about that. But I'm going to go ahead and say that today is the day that at our previous meeting in Bay Minette 2 weeks ago that we declared a day of thanks for Baldwin County. So this is the day that we have declared, even though Thursday is the Thanksgiving National celebrated day. And that's just something that comes to mind when I'm driving through. I know it's the Christmas season coming up, and a lot of people always like to push that a little bit ahead. I know retail does and everything, but you know what? That's something that we need to do. We need to give thanks all year long. It doesn't need just to be at Thanksgiving. There's a song that I couldn't think of the name of it, and the other day someone reminded me and told me exactly which song it was, and then we sang it in church on Sunday, and I just keep singing it over and over in my mind. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing it to you, but I recognize talents God gave me, and it was not a vocalist, but he did give me an ear for music, but not to sing. But the song is called "Give Thanks" by Don Moen, and it says, give thanks with a grateful heart. And so sometimes, we have to be thankful, even though in the positions we're in, sometimes, people tell me all the time, how's it going? Well, it's busy, well, you signed up for it. I'm like, yeah, but, can't you just be nice, so, but anyhow, actually the people voted us in, so, but anyways, we did have to sign up in order to be voted for, I suppose, but nonetheless, I am thankful. I am thankful for so many things, and I heard someone speak the other day in a community Thanksgiving service that if we could just literally stop and just start naming out all the things that we're thankful for, we probably could never stop. I mean, if we just think every little single thing that we can think about that we should, if we're not thankful, we need to be thankful. And we were signing a lot of papers just before this meeting, and as chairman, and I was telling the girls in there, I was like, if I don't tell you thank you enough, it's not that I'm not thankful. It's sometimes we forget to say it, but I just want to challenge everybody to, you don't have to be like what did my niece say? Her little girl was like a parakeet. Everything she says, parrot, repeats every single thing, but thank people, thank somebody. Sometimes, when you're walking out the building, if you see the custodian, thank them because the bathroom was clean, and if it wasn't, don't say anything. But, thankful that you have a bathroom, that you have an indoor bathroom to use. Just be thankful for something, but anyhow. And with that being said, you guys be safe, as everybody's always said. And I want to put in a little 2 cents about the light show up there, too. It takes me at least an hour to get there from where I live in the county, but it's worth it. It would take me an hour to get to Hank Aaron Stadium if I went over there, and I had to pay to go there. This is free. And it is beautiful. I think it's better than going to Hank Aaron Stadium because you're at Bicentennial Park and it's wooded and it's not like being out in the parking lot of a ball stadium. Okay. All right. Roger.
Yes, ma'am. As the commission is aware, obviously, with our 3 new judgeships coming, especially 2 real shortly, we have been in the process of trying to figure out how to move space around, accommodate the addition of these judgeships. One of those is an attempt to try to get the DA in under one roof, which will free up a good bit of space in the courthouse that will accommodate these new, much-needed judgeships. But again, it presses us for space. The reason why this is kind of an urgent matter is I just now received this agreement from the county attorney. It is basically a real estate purchase and sale agreement for property that is adjacent to one of the existing locations of the DA for $500,000, which we've been working on for a period of time. We would like for the commission, if you would again, apologize for the late moment. We had some issues trying to get the documents back from the other party, but to be able to go ahead and start the due diligence portion of this, we would like for the commission to go ahead and consider this agreement. We are printing it out right now. If you want to look at it, we might have to recess briefly to get that for you, but I've been sitting here reviewing it. It is a standard agreement, and it actually is
The
an
same
agreement.
amount, the $500,000.
The $500,000,
For the building on
and
the
the agreement was actually crafted by our county attorney. So if you're fine with that, we could go ahead and approve that unless you want to look at it, but it is $500,000. All we're doing right now is to allow us to start the due diligence portion of it. Then, of course, we'll come back and actually complete the transaction at a later date.
I think that's reasonable. And
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the
okay.
purchase.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thanks,
all right.
Roger.
With all that being said, we are at the end of our list. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.